What's up, everyone? It's Rory from Enlighten the Shadows. We have had a 2-week break away from creating these episodes for you fellas. I have learned a lot actually about myself and how to push myself into a place of rest, because I'm the sort of fella that just wants to get amongst it and get stuck in and work my absolute backside off for you guys to have that weekly content, and so that you're feeling supported and ultimately you've got those skills to move forward and really relate to some of the people that we bring on our show. But resting, you know what I mean? Fellas, I want to say to you, it's massively underrated. And if you're a real energetic person, you've got to take some rest now and then so you don't burn out. And I felt like there were some times where I was looking like I was going to burn out, and I'm really glad that I've got a good support network around me encouraging me to do so. So I'm saying to you now, fellas, if you feel like the signs are coming, make sure you take some rest, get some annual leave, book it off. And an amazing few weeks so I could clear my head and be full of energy, packing ready, moving forward in Like the Shadows. We've had some encouraging stuff going on in the background, basically. So just watch this space. We've got lots of things to come your way. What I wanted to say before we introduce our guests for today's episode 17 is we've got something called Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. I'm going to put it on the screen right now. And basically, this is for those who really believe in what we're doing. And if you go on particularly Patreon, we break down to you lot what we're going to be doing in the future within Like the Shadows. We're not just going to be here on YouTube providing free content. We're going to actually get out in the community, provide support groups, go to suicide hotspots, all sorts. So we've got lots of stuff coming. So check that out on Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. Simply just a little gesture saying, I'll buy you a coffee, here's a £5, bang, believe in what you're doing. Because Enlighten the Shadows has set up something called a CIC. So without boring you too much, it's basically just before you become a charity, you become a community interest company. So it's basically being official. We're with the government. We're not just some rogues that are getting on doing this. This is proper professional stuff. So it's took a lot to get to this stage. And I want to say to all of you, thank you so much for joining Enlighten the Shadows. We've got so many different platforms. We're on Instagram and Twitter. And our handle is on the screen right now is at EnlightenTheSH1. But this is the way it's really happening and popping off. On Facebook, fellas, if you are struggling just with your headspace, your mental health, and you're just struggling to talk to anyone, well, guess what? On this Facebook group, it's a controlled, safe place where we can open up, and people are opening up. It's about 300 of us or so now. So join us on there. That's coming up on the screen right now, the link to that. So today, I am really, really excited to talk about this particular life subject and area because it's quite stigmatized, and it's one of those things that us blokes are just like, nah, man, I ain't talking about this whatsoever. So big up to our guest today who's coming on to share his story of overcoming particular cancer. I know we had Simon Taylor on episode 1, but this fella has got something different and dynamic to bring to the table today. So Blaine, we've got Blaine Hancock with us today. Welcome to the show, mate. How you doing?
Hey, mate, you're all right.
Yeah, I'm buzzing, mate. As you say, I'm full of energy. I'm full of beans. I've had a few weeks off. But yeah, I'm just really blessed that you've come on to Enlighten the Shadows to speak with the fellas and just have a good chat for the next hour, mate.
Yeah, mate, let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah, come on, let's smash this. So yeah, so I don't know you on a level too personally, but just before we come on camera, just to set out ourselves and just get ready to go, I really felt quite an ease with you and quite a connection. So it always helps when we have someone come on the show that is just quite chilled, but also has got a lot to bring. But yeah, man, I wanted to ask you just to be right up blunt, so we hook the viewers in. You had a particular moment in your life where you've had some really freaking bad news.
Yeah.
And I would call it a trauma because it's something life-threatening. Other lot of people will dismiss, oh yeah, it's whatever. It's like, well, not really. Can you just share with our viewers when this was and what exactly happened? And when you've done that, can you just like unpack it and just share what that did to your mindset and stuff?
Yeah, so it was July of last year. So I'd just been on a night out, funnily enough. Got home, getting ready for bed, and I noticed a lump on one of my testicles.
Yeah.
And straight away I thought, that's not right. It's not right. And tried to get to sleep that night, and I couldn't. It was on my mind all night. So I picked up the phone and I just phoned my brother straight away, because he'd had a little scare a couple of weeks before.
Right.
He basically explained what had happened when he'd been to the doctors. His had turned out to be a cyst, so thankfully he was fine. And he was basically told, take some ibuprofen, it should go down, the pain should ease. And that's the advice that he gave to me. 2 weeks later, I was still in the same situation. So I booked myself into the see my GP. And I think a lot of people, that's a barrier for a lot of people. Obviously, it's your genitals. People,
man, for
whatever reason, are embarrassed. It might be, what if I get a female doctor?
Yeah.
For me,
that's so true.
For me, it was, I just want to get to the bottom of it. I want to put my mind at ease. I could sense in that 2 weeks, I was being short with people. I wasn't being myself. I went to the GP, and funnily enough, the GP said to me, I can't feel anything there. And I was adamant to him. I was like, no, there's something there.
Yeah.
He sent me for an ultrasound. So that was 2 days later. I went for my ultrasound.
That's quite quick. That's good.
Yeah. Honestly, the service from the NHS was unbelievable. From day one. I know obviously he said it couldn't find anything, but a lot of GPs would have just said, no, there's nothing there. I'm not taking it any further. But he actually listened to me and wanted to put my mind at ease. So I went for my ultrasound, and the male guy said to me, do you play cricket? I was like, no, to be honest, it's one of the sports I actually can't stand.
Get your box.
So boring. Yeah, as a kid going and watching my dad play cricket, oh, it's so boring. And I was like, no. And he said, it looks like I've had an impact injury, like I'd been hit with a cricket ball on one of my testicles. So anyway, that evening he said to me, get in contact with your GP again. So I'd gone back to work. I was at work, and I got a phone call, and straight away I knew it was the doctors. It come up on my phone, and when you can just feel it in your gut, this isn't right. And he just said to me, we need you to come back in. So in my head, I already knew. Tried to kind of cover it up with at work. I wasn't bothered about it. Went in, and he just point blank told me straight up, you've got testicular cancer.
Shoot, bro. Did you respect him for not basically fanning around?
Yeah,
told you straight?
I don't want him to beat around the bush. I want people to just be straight up. That's how I am as a person, and that's how I want people to be with me. So yeah, I don't think it really sunk in. There was only my partner and my brother that knew that I was going to the doctors, and I was having this issue.
Yeah.
I phoned my brother straight away, and he was amazing through it all, to be fair. He was like, him and my partner were my support network through it all. And yeah, I told him, and he was like, right, what have you got to do next? And he broke it down for me. He said, right, if you had a bad kidney, they would take it out. They said, so that's what's going to happen. So they're going to take it out, and then hopefully it's not spread, and you'll be on the road to recovery. I went home, told my partner, and yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. I broke down as soon as I got home.
Yeah, man.
And then it was right, what do we do next? Kind of thing. I'd had my moment, I'd got it out, and then it was, we need to be positive now.
Flipping out, bro. You're like, there's something from, I think it was like Soccer AM, which is like a football thing on Sky Sports. People
Yeah,
don't
yeah, I
know.
used to love
And
it.
they,
Yeah,
yeah, man, they talked
not a massive
about,
fan now though.
nah, it's gone a bit down, but they had a phrase they come up with, but like bounce back ability. And I'm certain it came from them. But like your bounce back ability was freaking mad, like, coming in that moment, because I'm just parking where we are right now. I'm sorry to like put a handbrake on you, because like this is massive. Like you've literally just disclosed something that's really, really like, it's about as vulnerable and private as it gets because of where it is in your body. And I somewhat get it, not what you've experienced at all, but me and my wife have been on a fertility journey.
Yeah.
And I had, no disrespect, the NHS messed up the sample, lost it. Then I had to go back another one. Then I had to do another one this year. So like your dignity, like really suffers as a result, and you feel a bit like mugged off. Like you have to like do this. Like you have to get that part of your body out, and everyone. It's like the obvious that everyone knows it's to do with that, and I don't know. It just does mad things in your mind, but your ability to overcome the situation, like obviously you've had a lot more to do, but where we're parked at, where you've got the news, you've got told, you've gone home, you broke down, your brother's like, really, as blokes, we're very practical, we like to fix things, so having that support network. But I don't know, man, it was just class that you literally said in the moment, you're like, right, what do we need to do now? Because a lot of blokes, I feel, who get stuck, like they're stuck, and whether it's mental, physical, social, emotional, relational, financial, or anything else, they get stuck, and they're like, they just feel so trapped that they don't actually know what to do next. I guess they like problem solve it. So I don't know, what was it inside you, brother? You're like, yeah, what do I need to do?
I think it was more of, if I was okay on the outside, on the inside I wasn't.
Right.
But on the outside, if I was okay, the people around me haven't got an excuse to be upset.
All right, yeah.
And I think that was my mind frame on it, which, going through all of the treatment, that worked. Once the treatment was done, it didn't work. And I think because I'd kept everything in for so long, it just ate away at me over that time.
Sorry, just to enlighten our viewers, like what were the time frames like? Because let's just say a bloke goes through this, it's good for them to know rough, obviously not cases.
The one thing I would say to anybody throughout the whole of this, the sooner you go, the more chance, if we're talking just about cancer, for example, the higher percentage chance you've got of survival, and the sooner it's going to be sorted. Nothing comes good of waiting to just see if it gets better. If you go to your GP and they turn around and say, no, you're fine, it's just this, your mind's at ease.
Yeah.
What are you gaining from waiting and waiting and waiting? The situation's only going to get worse. Your anxiety levels are going to get worse. Your mental health's going to suffer from it. People around you are going to suffer from it as well. I think there's that barrier that people don't want to break down. And for me, doctors openly said to me, the fact that I went and I was proactive with it, not necessarily saved my life, but made the whole process a lot smoother and easier and quicker.
That's class, man. I love that. You use a massive word there, proactive. And I think any fellas who are watching right now, that phrase proactive is crucial in terms of you like transitioning out of any crap that you're going through. It's like applying yourself to take some practical steps, because I just think sometimes people, and it's proactive, and there's a difference between proactive and reactive. I don't know if you know, Blaine. Like a lot of people react, so they're like, oh my gosh, oh, what to do, and they're like, it's quite a panic approach. And don't get me wrong, like we don't undermine anyone's circumstances or pressures or traumas like what you've explained, Blaine, but it's so important that we just sit down, we take a moment, really just try it and process it, so we can make those proactive steps. And I'm going to quickly put on the screen before that. Sorry, I keep saying talking, babe, but it's just so I don't want to rush through this because it's important that we really unpack this. So like in Light in the Shadows, I need to trademark it. It's like an acronym I've come up with, and it's called ACT, ACT. We need to act. So A is acknowledge. So we need to. So for your thing, it's like, right, I had to actually acknowledge that there was a lump there. I had to acknowledge that something weren't right, but acknowledging it isn't denying. It's the opposite to denial. So it's important that, you know, you didn't deny it was there, and then which leads to the C, which is comprehend. So it's actually about really thinking about, okay, how long has this been there? What's this doing to me? Have I been blocking this out? What do I need to do next? Right? How is this making me or others feel? And then which leads to the T, which is to take action, take ownership of the situation. So yeah, man, you're like fulfilling ACT, act, without even knowing about it.
I think I used to work at a place and they used like an above the line or below the line kind of mentality. And
right.
I think the above the line was, I think it was all, so it was ownership, acceptance and responsibility.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think I just always took on that mindset, and that's always stuck with me, not just at work, but just in life. So yeah, I've only just thought of that now, really, but I think that probably helped me with the situation and dealing with it. But yeah, it was a scary time.
Yeah.
No. That 2 weeks from kind of finding the lump to them being diagnosed had a big impact on kind of what happened next, I guess.
Yeah, man. Oh, this is crazy. Like, so when your brother sat down with you about what you need to do, like, what did you do? Like, what was the next process? So if they told you that you've got it, roughly, again, we don't want to make every case like carbon copy because it's not. Like, what was the time frame between like being diagnosed and then like the treatment? What was that like for you?
So let me just think. So I never spoke to any of my family face to face, because for me, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I did everything over the phone. The only person I spoke to face was my partner. And for me, that was when I was at home. That was my time. That if I wanted to let anything out, that's where I did it. I didn't kind of want to show. At the time, I thought it was weakness, but it wasn't. You know, it, like you said, it was a trauma that I was kind of going through, but I didn't allow myself to think like that. And everyone's situation is different, and we'll deal with it in completely different ways. But from being diagnosed, so I had to go and see a specialist. So I went to see a specialist, and he then confirmed that it was testicular cancer. And I think it really hit home when I had to fill out a form, and it was asking me like next of kin and things like that. And I was thinking, like, this is real.
Yeah.
So, and this is where the treatment was absolutely amazing. So from that point, so when I went to see the specialist, my operation was 2 weeks. So in the space of 4 weeks, I'd found the lump and it had been removed.
Flipping out.
That's how quick it was, which, you know, I can't thank the NHS enough for what they did. And I've never really had any medical issues, you know, prior to that. Quite a fit, healthy person.
Yeah.
I've really experienced the NHS and you know, the treatment that they can give and how amazing it actually is. And like I say, 4 weeks from finding the lump, being diagnosed to having the operation is unbelievable.
That is first class.
And it was so fast because my response was so quick as well. You know, that's a process that could have been dragged out for 6 months, a year, even longer. So then after that, I was desperate to go on holiday. I had a trip to Ibiza booked with the lads. I couldn't go on that. Wasn't allowed to go on that. And well, one of the lads that I was going with, he actually cancelled my flight. He was like, "No, if your flight's still there, you're going to go." And he says, "I'm not letting you do that." And he can't. And I would have gone. It would have been irresponsible of me to go. But it was kind of no, I've gone through all of this. I'm going. Why is this going to stop me? But actually, that was the right thing to do. And I had a trip to Portugal booked with my partner as well, which I checked with the hospital, and they said, "Yeah, you're able to go." Well, I woke up that morning to go on holiday, and my stitches had burst open.
Oh, bruv.
So I'd woke up, and basically, without wanting to gross people out, the whole side of my bed was covered in blood.
Oh, bruv.
So
It's like I know if you get stitches, like they naturally like just come out because they're ready to. So you're implying that they just weren't, and they've sadly like somehow
what had happened, and I don't really know how it had happened, and I wasn't warned about it. So they'd gone in kind of through the top of my groin.
Okay.
So that's where my stitches were. So kind of on my waistline as such. And I'd got a lump where my stitches were, but it wasn't painful, and it seemed absolutely fine. Nobody had warned me about anything like that. So I woke up, stitches had burst open, but only slightly, not fully.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
So I was like, right, I'm going to pack it up, and I'm still going on holiday. Like, I was determined I was going. Got to the airport, baggage was over. Obviously not mine, partners, taking all a pair of shoes and straighteners, and
Struggle's real.
And there was like, right, you're gonna have to pay, or you can mix it between your bags. And I was like, absolutely not, just pay. We need to get through. Like, I need to sort this out. It was still bleeding. So anyway, we paid the extra luggage, got through, managed to stop it, went to change my pack just before I got on the flight, and it had opened up again. So I was like, right, but I didn't tell my partner at this point. We boarded the flight. I was sat there, and in my head, I was like, I can't go. And I had a panic attack on the plane, on the runway. And again, it was just another barrier that I was had to get through. So I'd stood up, delayed the flight for half an hour on the runway, which I'm sure everyone was delighted about. Partner again was like, you just need to sit down, we'll be fine. And I was like, no, I need to get off. And luckily, there was actually like a paramedic on the plane. Wow. She came to the back, had a look at it. Was like, no, like, you'll be fine. You just had a panic attack. Just need to calm you down. And the plane had just got all of a sudden so hot for me. The movement to the back was a little bit cooler, and the air hostess again was brilliant. She just bought my partner over a double gin to like calm her down, and she sat there and she was happy as Larry then. And I just sat there and thought, and I got through the flight, got to the hotel. Amazing hotel, literally just sat there. Me and my partner just had a drink, was like, what is going on? Thought, right, we'll just chill out for a week now. And 3 days in, the bleeding still hadn't stopped. So was like, right, this is a point of where we need to go to a hospital. So I went to a hospital, absolutely disgusting hospital. There was ants and bugs crawling over the floor. Receptionist didn't speak English, so I had to use Google Translate. And it actually turned out by the time I'd got in that the lump that I had was congealed blood. So it was old blood just in my system, just needing to get out somewhere.
Right.
And all the doctor did is he couldn't really speak good English. Again, I don't want to gross people out, but he just kind of controlled, slowly squoze the lump.
Yeah, got rid of it.
The blood just started to flow out. And then it was fine.
Wow.
Until I got home and found out that it had then got infected.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah.
So a week of antibiotics, and it kind of settled down, and it was fine. So yeah, I managed to get the holiday, but it wasn't as relaxed as we thought it would be.
No, that's understandable, bro. Flipping it, mate. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot to go through. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm kind of glad that you went in, because our mantra it is basically like real talk, real men, and it's not nice to talk about for you more than anyone, but yeah, it'll probably gore out people, and we may have lost people watching it, but that's with them, and that's cool. Like, that's where they're at. But I'm rather you be like completely vulnerable and talk about it, because there will be blokes who want to talk about this kind of stuff, who want to like go this open about it because they just have no outlet, but they don't know like which way to turn. So I'm really, really glad that you've just like gone in, bro. And I want to say,
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend if you just had an operation 10 days later going on holiday. Definitely not.
But this is the thing though, because most blokes would do that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not because we're stupid, but we literally try and make light of things because we're quite objective. So we go, right, oh well, I'll do this because I'm resting and I'll be all right, and I'll get on with it. Like, that's just how we operate. And
I think I kind of felt like I'd been through the journey with, or part of that journey with my partner. She deserved a week of being able to get away, enjoy herself.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just me that had been on that journey. She'd been there every step of the way, emotionally and physically as well.
Yeah.
Like, and she deserved that time away. And I thought, I'm not allowing this disease, illness to get in the way. But I think by the end of that week, she'd spent more time in that pharmacy than I'd spent in any hospital through the whole journey.
Oh, bless her, man.
But yeah, you know, we got there. But then when we got back was then another kind of journey to go on with, you know, I was offered chemotherapy, and it was, am I gonna have it? Am I not gonna have it? How is it going to affect me physically and emotionally as well? So then that was another journey to go on.
Wow. So how long ago was all this popping off?
So this was, what are we now? So summer of 2019.
Oh, flipping heck. So dead recent.
Yeah. And this is kind of the first time that I've opened or spoke to somebody properly about everything.
Yeah, man. Oh,
you know, I've had brief conversations with people about little snippets of stuff, but never actually sat down and opened up about everything.
Wow, enough respect. Serious. Oh, what I want to highlight as well right now, just as before we keep moving forward with this, is about people's reactions to this, because naturally, like, people have got your best interests at heart. They care about you, and they'll be like, "Oh, why has he not told me?" Like, I can't believe I can't believe he hasn't told me. Like, you know, I'm his such and such. I'm his, and this is what we need to try and help people understand, that it takes a lot for you to even talk a sentence about it. It takes a lot for you.
I think before people look at that, the hardest person to tell was my mum by far.
Yeah.
And I actually never said the words, "Mum, I've got cancer." I never said those words to her. And I found out that I had it.
Yeah.
And I went round to my mum's, as I normally do on a Wednesday, for dinner. And I said to her, "Oh, I've been to the doctors and I've been checked and they've found a lump and they're not kind of sure what it is. I've got to go back for a test in 2 weeks." At that point, I actually knew that I had cancer, but I couldn't tell her. So I'd set the seed in her head, whether, you know, people agree that that's the right way to do it or not. And 2 weeks later, because I know she was going to fire so many questions at me and I didn't have the answer.
Got you.
So I wanted all of the answers. So when she asked me, I could tell her everything that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a conversation that I'd had with my brother, that we felt that was the best way to tell her. So once I found out when my operation date was and what the recovery will be like, that's when I told her. And I did it
Yeah.
I did it face to face, but my words to her were, "It's the worst possible news." And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, the lump, I've got to have my testicle removed. It's the worst possible news." And I just couldn't bring myself to tell her. And I knew it was coming. I felt like I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I got that many questions, and it was like, but I had the answers. So it kind of put her mind at ease.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, and it was like, right, in 2 weeks' time, I've got my operation. Then this is what happens after my operation. This is how long it's going to take to recover. And she seemed a lot more relaxed with that.
Yeah.
So that was quite good. But then, like you say, you know, when it finally came out, which it did quite a while after, you know, I'd been diagnosed and I'd had my operation and I'd been through my chemo and stuff like that. That's when people, for me, who I don't know how do I word this. I don't want to disrespect people, but people knew if they needed to know.
Right.
And my family knew and my close friends knew, but that was it. I didn't want to be a rumor around town. Oh, you know, have you heard about Blaine? Have you heard, you know, have you heard this? Have you heard that? That's nobody else's business at that time. So I suppose that's why I didn't tell a lot of people. And I'm not one for attention. I don't like being the centre of attention. Don't get me wrong. I love a good laugh with most of them, whether it's at my expense or, you know, I'm making the jokes or whatever. But I felt that was a private time for me and my family, and I don't think that they deserved to be bombarded with questions as well. And I felt that the way that I did that was the right for me. And again, if people want to take insult to it, that's fine. But I did what was right for me. Then, you know, they're not my priority and how they feel at that time.
Absolutely, man. Well said. That's class. So you've had a bit of a whirlwind. It's happened all really quickly.
Yeah.
And the effects that had on you, and then the C word happened. Sorry, I'm just so done with talking about it. But what we can't be done with talking about is what it's done to people's mental health, and particularly like fellas, because we tend naturally, more of us more than not, and in comparison to females, is just to bottle things up, get on with it and stuff like that. So how are you dealing with the national lockdown? Just generally speaking, in a few words, like what was it like for you? And because you've just come out of the cancer thing, and
I think because basically they said to me, "Do you want the chemotherapy?" And it wasn't 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. It was kind of, you'll have a blast of chemotherapy, and there was a 15% chance of it coming back in the 5 years. Or if I had the chemotherapy, it reduced it to 5%. So I was like, right, okay, I will have the chemotherapy. The worst thing for me was having to tell people, if I can reduce that, you know, let's do it. So that was hard. That was very difficult. I didn't sleep that night from having the chemotherapy. The rest of that week, I was quite lethargic, but okay. And then it was like the 7th day, it hit me. It was awful. I couldn't move in bed. My partner ended up coming back from work, very emotional about it. And then after that, I got better.
Yeah.
I got back to work. Everything was getting back to normal. Then, like you say, COVID happened. So I'd just gone back to work after the 6 weeks holidays. The October half term, just gone back to work, had Christmas, settling into the new year, thinking, I'm on the road to recovery now. That's behind me. Everything's great. Then obviously COVID happened, and I was classed as, well, I was in the middle. Was I vulnerable or was I not? Because after my chemo, it was kind of like I had nurses telling me that I'm not vulnerable. I had nurses telling me and doctors saying that I was. So it was finding out whether I did have to isolate or not. So then eventually I found that I had to isolate for 3 months. So then my partner had to isolate for 3 months as well. So that helped kind of through the isolation. But one part that sticks with me is, sorry, I'm just going back a little bit here, but it's kind of an important bit of the mental side of how it affected me. How I mentioned about keeping everything inside, and I was fine on the outside and not open up on the inside.
Yeah.
I remember being sat one day and I was just eating my breakfast, and a song came on the radio. I can't remember what exact song it was. I think it was an Adele song or something like that.
Come on.
And I just broke down in tears, like absolutely cried my eyes out, sobbed for no reason. And at that point, I kind of said, I can't keep it hidden anymore. So for me, from that day, I was always open with people. And that helped a lot. And like I say, going into isolation, kind of life had just got back to normal, put it behind me. Right, you got 3 months locked in. I was like, how am I gonna how are we gonna get through this? Like probably a lot of people were as well. If I struggled, I spoke to people around me. I knew when my anxiety levels were getting worse. And I wouldn't say I'm someone that struggled massively regards mental health and kind of going like depression. But I'd say what helped me was talking to people. That generally helped me. That's because I had a close friend that struggled with depression, and he kind of is still fighting that. He's a lot better now. I know he has dips, and I remember speaking to him, and he said that opening up was massive for him, and the support that he had. So yeah, that was that stuck with me. And I didn't tell, every single person I came into contact with.
Yeah.
But if I was having a hard time, I would speak to people that I needed to speak to.
Yeah. If it's relevant, you don't like walk around telling every Tom, Dick and Harry, but
no.
If there's a relevant conversation where someone's like proper struggling, you've got that like credibility.
I think people knew as well, because I'm quite a bubbly character.
Yeah.
I think they knew that, like I've mentioned my brother quite a lot and my partner quite a lot. They would know if I was in a bad mood, and they, what's up with you? Is there something on your mind? And I just found the more I kind of opened up, the easier it was.
Yeah.
I think some people kind of feel that they're being a burden on people, but not. And I know it's cliche, but a problem shared is a problem halved.
Oh, hey up.
You like that one?
Oh, that's a banger.
I think that one, I like that.
Wait, hold on a second. Say that again.
So a problem shared is a problem halved.
Oh, bruv. Hey, quick maths. It's very simple, but in the realms of like problem solving, mental health, traumas, like us blokes just like, nah, I'll get on with it, be right. Like actually, that's monumental. Love it. You need to trademark that, bro.
Yeah, it's really simple, and I honestly believe that just talking to people, not everyone, but people that you trust and people that it's kind of a private conversation. It's between you and them, and they'll be honest with you. But at the same time, even if it's something that you might not necessarily want to hear, you know that you can trust them and you know that they'll be there.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I'd say that's what helped me. A lot of kind of my release through lockdown was, one, I kind of had a bit of a routine. So the first thing I'd do is I'd wake up, and me and my partner would go for a run or would do some kind of exercise. And then I learned kind of how to cook a little bit.
Bit of snap, bit of beans on toast.
Nothing amazing, but
go on then. Before you
took the time to figure out how the grill works on my oven.
Freaking no! Right, what's your best bit of snap then? Come on.
You know what we've started doing now? I've started having them Gusto boxes.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're pretty good, you know. Good. I make a nice prawn linguine.
Oh, way up.
Yeah.
Little linguine. All right. Come
Yeah.
on then. Do you have a bit of
Yeah.
white wine with that? Bit of
No,
white
I
wine.
don't put any white wine in it, but I like
No.
spicy food, so there's quite a lot of chili flakes that go in it as well.
Come on, son. Love
Yeah.
it. Oh,
Uh,
that's good though.
but yeah, just um, I played the PlayStation quite a lot, but that wasn't my release. What was
Yeah.
my release was I was on the headset with my mates. So I
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
had that little bit of social life because we kind of had the same time that would go on kind of every night.
Yeah. FIFA rage.
I was more of a Fortnite kind of guy.
Oh, not COD.
Nah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
terrible at COD. I'm terrible at Fortnite, but
You try.
yeah, I try.
You're
And I
you're
can,
you're that mate that they freaking love having online because you just get an absolute whooping. So you up their kill count. They love you, mate. They need
yeah,
people like you.
I honestly feel like when I first started, I could have had my own YouTube channel. I was that bad. I'm the opposite to like Ninja. But I was
Oh,
a
mate.
camper, mate. I get in a bush and like wait till that'd be
Just
like
hide,
final
yeah.
two and try and
Sniper.
snipe him or something. But
Oh,
yeah, that
shit.
was a release just because that was kind of that replaced my social.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
definitely.
the lads were on, and it was kind of like we were sat in a pub with each other,
Yeah.
but without the pints. Yeah, and that routine of a little bit of exercise, you know, I kind of learned how to cook, if you can call it that, and that social side on the PlayStation was kind of my three things that helped me through the isolation, I'd
Yeah.
say.
That's
And I'd
brilliant,
say
mate.
that's a lot, you know, similar to a lot of people.
I think a lot of people's routines have been completely screwed up
Yeah,
just this last year, and people's finances, people's work hours. There's just so much chaos. That's the word that comes to mind. There's a lot of chaos
yeah,
that's come into our lives that actually we don't have too much control over unless you want to get arrested and or fined or whatever. And I know everyone's got different opinions and mindsets on COVID and now the
yeah,
death rate compared to how many people are tested like back compared to like March. There's so many variables going on. There's lots of, and I feel like the first lockdown was really good for us. And yes, it wasn't in ways because the financial stresses and what that could do to mental health. But in terms of what you mentioned, crucial was like routine, like resetting ourselves, re-strategizing. That's how In Light in the Shadows came about for us ultimately. But so we're Knots boys pretty much, and
yeah.
you know, um, I like to think we're not the uni students, so not to blame them, but they're having the time of their lives, and they've kind of the only age demographic that's kind of spiked massively. We're
Yeah,
like the most rates in the country, so naturally for the viewers watching, that's put a lot of restriction and impact on our lives, particularly in Nottingham. So, what's that been like for you? Because you said the first lockdown was quite good for you. What's this saying this one then?
This time it's a lot harder. So I'm having to isolate now for 14 days
Right,
because I came into contact with somebody who tested positive.
right.
Um, I have had a test. I did have a test. You know, I thought I'd developed some symptoms that came back negative. Everything's absolutely fine.
That's good.
Obviously, I can still develop symptoms within that 14 days, so I'm still off.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Can you still smell your prawn linguine?
oh yeah,
Taste it.
yeah.
Oh,
The
God.
neighbours smell it. They come around knocking, asking if I've got any leftovers.
Oh, sick.
But yeah, this is a lot harder, I think, because in that first lockdown, everyone was in the same boat. You
Yeah,
know, you knew that you weren't missing out on anything. There was nowhere to go. Everyone was kind of in their homes and finding different ways to stay in contact. You know, whether it was a Zoom quiz, whether it was just speaking to people over Zoom, over the phone, over the
yeah.
PlayStation. Whereas now, I'm at home in the day, kind of the same four walls.
Mm,
You know, can't go out and exercise really. If I do any exercise, it's within the house. Everyone's at work. You know, daytime telly is not the best.
Yeah, sub average. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot harder this time. I would say.
Yeah, I
It's a
feel
lot
you.
harder this time.
Yeah.
But getting through it, again, a routine, and kind of if I am having not necessarily a bad day, but a day where I'm thinking, and you are fed up, I just openly have a chat with my partner when she comes home, and I wouldn't say I've had too many days like that in this isolation, but yeah, it is difficult because everyone's kind of trying to get back to normal, whatever that is now. But yeah, it's kind of just one of them, and I think I'm just finding things to keep me busy.
That's good, and that's good advice. You know, there's people who are going through a lot like yourselves. There's people who are being laid off left, right, and center, and our thoughts and prayers are out to those kind of people, man, because it's tough times for everyone. I think you mentioned the key strategy there is that we just talk. It's not easy to talk. It's not easy to open up about the things that we're experiencing, and sometimes us fellas don't really have the words. Not that we're dumb, but we just can't articulate as well as females naturally.
I think you get asked and people go, "Yeah, I'm all right."
Yeah. It's so like it's
what
like we're programmed.
Nothing.
It's a program, isn't it? Like, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, sound. It's like, no, it's not sound. Just take a moment to write, just to go, actually, no, I've not been that good. And this is why. So important to do that. But you mentioned earlier as well about your support network. And I'm quite conscious of those who ain't got that. And so on the screen for the viewers who are watching right now, I just want to put up a couple of things. So first, our Facebook group that I alluded to right at the start of this episode. So we've got a private, secure Facebook group. So it's got rules on there as well, like 10 rules. So we all stick together, we keep on the same page. It's a place where you fellas can open up. So it's like, you ain't going to be laughed at, you ain't going to be digged at. It'd be quite the opposite. We can be our own worst judge. But on there's fellas who are going to just like pipe up. If you just put anything, you comment about you're not in a good place, or you say as little or as large as you want, but we're there for you, and you'll get like enough love and some encouragement strategies. So that's coming up on the screen. And then
you need
also
to remember that a problem shared is a problem halved.
Oh, look, he's just slipped that in there, my guy. And it's true. It is true. And if that's not for you because you're like, oh shoot, there'll be a lot of blokes on there, not quite sure, you can always inbox us. We've got emails, so it's at enlightenthesh1@gmail.com. And then one thing that just came to my heart as well was, look, we are not the answer to everything in Like the Shadows. We're not like, oh yeah, we're the answer and we will sort you out, we'll help you. They're professionals who sit on the phone at Calm and at Samaritans. So we'll put their numbers on the screen. So if you just don't want that one-to-one chat, when you're going to have that verbal back, their numbers are on the screen right now. So that's Calm and Samaritans. Because I am conscious as well, Blaine. I was thinking about me and you are quite blessed. Like, we've got people in our lives that we can circle, but actually some people don't, or they do, but they're concerned that
I think some people find it easier to speak to people that they're not close to,
like a stranger almost.
because they don't then feel like they don't want to pass that burden onto a close family member or a close friend, for them then to have to carry that. I think, like I say, some people, if they haven't got that support network, or they don't want to pass the burden on, so they do find it a lot easier to speak to people that they necessarily don't have that connection with.
That's so true, man. That's so true. So before we finish, bro, a couple of things that come into my mind for the viewers and for us just to create that community and some awareness about this subject, because I think that it's underrepresented. Like, it's happened for generations. Like, my grandfather had testicular cancer and he didn't do much with it. But I think we're getting better. But so do you want to tell the viewers anything that you've been up to about any future events or
So Sorry, I've just got a wasp in my room now.
No way. Did you watch the there was a presidential campaign in America, and one of the
The fly on his
vice
head.
president, yeah, right there, he's just like, he's got white
He's got his
hair.
own Twitter account now, hasn't he? The fly.
I'm gonna have that for you, bro. I might have to
that wasp.
got that wasp.
Oh, I hope I don't get stung while I'm doing this interview.
Oh.
Yeah, so I kind of want to do something that raises awareness around testicular cancer each year. So there's a testicular cancer awareness month, which is April, I think, off the top of my head. So me and about 10 friends were meant to do a cycle last year, charity cycle. It got cancelled this year due to COVID. So we've rearranged that for next year. And then each year I just want to do something that brings it back round to people, so they do keep checking. And once I put kind of my post out there on Instagram about what I'd been through, and I'd done that kind of after my chemo, but I then had people messaging me saying, oh, I found a lump, what would you suggest, what would you recommend, etc. What's the process that you have to go through? There's one story that stuck with me, and it will always stick with me, because it's not related to what I'd gone through. But I'd been to a wedding reception, and I'd gone for a few drinks after, and a girl came up to me at the bar, and she basically said, thanked me, and I was like, I've not done anything. I was a little bit confused to why she was, thanking me, and she said, seeing your post gave me the kind of courage to go for my cervical cancer test.
Wow, really?
And she went, I didn't want to go to it, but actually seeing your post and thinking of my daughter gave me the motivation and the courage to go for my test. Mm-hmm. And that will always stick with me. And I think, we might have this conversation and it might inspire somebody to either open up to somebody, or, if it is they have some kind of issue with an illness that they think it might be, to actually go and get it checked. And there was, I probably had 10, 15 people.
It's amazing, man.
Over social media just messaged me. And even if it was just one person, it was enough. But like I said earlier, I didn't do that for the attention. It was more of raise awareness around not just testicular cancer, other cancers out there, but to hopefully give people the courage to actually go and get checked.
That's what it's about, though, isn't it? Community.
Yeah, and every time something comes up on social media, if it's an interview with somebody and it's about any type of cancer, I'll always share it. I'll always remind people to check, because
that's class, bro.
That you don't have to check every day. When I went for my checkup, the doctor said to me, "Are you checking?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm checking every other day." And he was like, "Stop." He was like, "That's the worst thing you can do." He said, and the way that he put it, if you go out and look at your grass every day in the garden, do you notice that it's growing? I'm like, no. He said, if you checked once a month, would you notice that it's grown or there's a difference? I'm like, yeah. He said, so pick the same date every month and check once a month.
Brilliant.
And that's what I do. I check on the 1st of every month. And if you have something on your mind, don't be afraid to speak to someone or go to see your GP. Pick up that phone, whoever it is. It will help you massively. You're not going to lose anything. I think that's the way that I look at it. You're not going to lose anything.
Come on. That's great advice, man. And just respect you so much. Like, this is the first time we've met or come across each other. It's like Paolo. He's like the Enlighten the Shadows agent. He just got contacts and deals left, right, and center. Yeah. He's some boy. Like, I'm just really blessed. Like, me just doing what you've done by speaking out, reaching out, in the area of mental health. I've met some amazing people on Enlighten the Shadows who've come on the show. Just fantastic people. Hopefully we'll get quite a lot of them back. And Paolo is just I'd say openly, just become a really close friend now. Just out of nowhere. over time, and he's just got a heart of gold. So yeah,
that's it. I think that he's one of those people that nobody will ever have a bad word to say about him.
Yeah,
he walks in a room, and again, without being cringy, kind of, it does brighten up that room.
Yeah, he does, man.
And he will speak, and he's got time for every single person.
Yeah, top boy, isn't he?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, man. Thank you for doing this with us today. And for the viewers, just before we close, we just want to say massive love and respect for following us and for subscribing. And this goes out to all Blaine's friends, family, potentially, whoever's watching this. Like, it's not just about his story, but it's about men speaking up about their stories and about just getting rid of the crap that just says that, oh, just man up, get on with it, it's all right. Keep yourself to yourself and all that nonsense. It's got to stop. And so this is why in Light the Shadows, that's what the name means. Like, Blaine's basically in Light the Shadows of his life, something that you just don't want to talk about, but he has, and we love him for it. But we would love and appreciate if you could just pause this video, and just below on the screen, there's that red button. It says subscribe. It takes like 1 or 2 minutes just to quickly set up an account with YouTube. Just link it to your email address. You might not use YouTube much, and that's cool, but the subscribers, they mean a lot to me. Get my words right. The subscribers mean a lot to me and our team, and to the mission that we're on with, just so we can get more reach and get the message as far and wide as we can. So yeah, and also before this episode does finish, we'd appreciate if you actually, once you get on this video, they will have like a link that will be created. So copy and paste that link and just smash it out on your Facebook and the rest of your social media. That would be massively appreciated, because there will be, I guarantee this for a fact, there will be men that will be going through similar stuff as Blaine has bravely opened up about, and they're just hidden in the shadows, and they don't come out. But with this amazing episode 17, it's just going to help create some more awareness and a bit of courage for men to just rise up and say, yeah, I'm gonna, like Blaine, I'm gonna take ownership and do something about it. So yeah, guys, we thank you so much for this episode 17. It's great to be back, be fully charged, and we've got some amazing guests lined up coming up soon. I've spoke to a psychotherapist in the local area. She's massively passionate about supporting men, and particularly in the area of loneliness and what COVID's done to that. So tune into us next time for that, because that's really important that we unpack loneliness, what that looks like. And so, yeah, thank you, Blaine. We love you guys so much. Get on our social medias. In Light in the Shadows is on Instagram, Twitter, and have an amazing week. And we'll see you next Sunday at 7:30. Thanks, guys.